which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go astray.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our show Islamic Law Today. We are honored to have with us in the studio Professor Muhammad Naim Saie, the professor in several universities in America. Thank you for being with us. Islamic Law Today is a show that we talk about Islamic law and how to revive it, or how to revive the Islamic law according to our time. Again, I would like to remind our viewers that it's not a fatwa show. So if you have any kind of questions regarding fatwa, this is not the show for the fatwa. But you are free to call us and ask Professor Muhammad Naim Saie regarding some issues regarding the Islamic law or Sharia, about any issue or subjects that you would like to ask about. You can contact us in the second and the third segment. You can call us at 00202 3855 248 or 249. Or you can write to us at the email islamiclawtoday@huda.tv. Again, Professor Muhammad, in the last week in our show, you spoke about the purpose of this show, why we talk about the Islamic law today. If you please, you can refresh the mind and the memory of our viewers to talk about what is the purpose and about this show and the idea about it.
Yes, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Before I start, I'd like just to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have His mercy and His relief and comfort on our Muslims' families in Libya and everywhere in Muslim countries. Allahumma farj anhum ya Rabbil Alameen.
Allahumma amin.
Allahumma farj anhum ya Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma farj anhum ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa farj an kulli al-muslimina fi anha'i al-sharqi wal-gharb. Amin. Allahumma amin.
Allahumma amin.
Our purpose of this program is mainly to, as you said, Jazakallahu khairan, to be a very important step toward the big project we are working on. All of us as Muslims, inshallah, as I said before, the project of reviving Islam, renewing this deen, as the Prophet ﷺ promised us and gave us the good news that in each 100 years, at the head or the top of every century, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide to this ummah someone to revive its deen. And as we said before, that in our modern time we cannot believe that this person to revive this deen or that person to be honored to have this great mission should be one person or two or three. It has to be a mutual work among the whole Muslim ummah, everywhere. Is the duty and responsibilities and the job of every Muslim believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah alayhi wasallam to share in this very blessed and very honorable project to revive this deen. And as we know, Muslim scholars, Muslim jurists, Muslims, they have a big role in this project. And as we know that the absence of the Islamic law in our life and practice, the absence of the Muslim jurist as a character in our life, the impact of Muslim scholars in our life has been very obvious. And it's been very painful for someone knows how much work they can do and how much impact they could make on the Muslim ummah in general, and even on the whole, maybe, mankind, if they just start to regain their role and regain their character and regain that great mission they have inherited from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes, also.
When you used to hear al-ulama warathatul anbiya, this inheritance from the Prophet alayhi salam, it is not just to put it in a book, it's not just to put it in the drawers, or to put it like an academic way in the universities or college or institute. It has to be coming to the street. It has to be in every aspect of our life. People, they have to realize that their specialty as a Muslim ummah is not just as being having the name of Muhammad and Ahmed and Zaid and Hussein, or to have like great history or great past. They have to realize that the reason of being the best among others, as Allah indicated subhanahu wa ta'ala, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. This kind of criteria Allah indicated subhanahu wa ta'ala in His holy book Azza wa Jal, just to show and to bring to the mind of Muslims that this is the reason of being the best among others. When you are activating these meanings, you are commanding every good things, preventing every evil things within the frame of your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah alayhi salam, and other issues we have to believe in as a Muslims, then it is not just the good for this ummah, it is not just the impact on this ummah, is the impact of the whole world. And maybe others, they have wrote this book, how much word they have lost when the Muslim, they just disregard their role in this world. And I'm saying right now, how much word has lost when the Muslim scholars, they have just disregarded themselves and disregarded their role, disregarded the importance of being the head and the leader of this ummah. What I want from this program, for everyone who is watching us or listening to us, to understand that this ummah cannot come back to its reason of dignity and leadership and blessing and mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala till it comes back to the law Allah has set up subhanahu wa ta'ala, the manual book Allah has sent Azza wa Jal for this ummah, for the whole mankind to achieve the happiness in this life and to achieve your safety in the day of judgment. And this is through Islamic law. Islamic law, in very brief way to define it, it is the Lord address to His servant. When the Muslim scholars, they define the fiqh, the Islamic law, even if you ask a very small little student in the very maybe beginning of his study in the Islamic maybe institute, define for me please the fiqh, he said, or the hukum, the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-hukum, what is the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, خطاب الله المتعلق بالمكلفين اقتضاء أو وضعا أو اختيارا. خطاب Allah means that the address of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to His servant. So what is the address of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this ummah? What did we do to this address of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to ourselves, to this ummah, to everyone lives in this universe? We have just put it somewhere else, disregarded, ignored it. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. The understanding through this Lord address, how to understand issues going on in front of your eyes, how to analyze event taking place in our modern time through this Lord address, khitab Rabbil Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. The purpose after that, to understand what Allah wants from you Azza wa Jal. You understand, is it right, is it wrong, is it combining with His orders, is it fitting in His system subhanahu wa ta'ala? And if this is the case, what Allah wants from us after that? If this is not the case, what should we do to fix ourselves, to fix our problem, to fix our mistakes, to come back to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala? When we read the saying of Allah Azza wa Jal about other maybe nations, why Allah has cursed this nation, لُعْنَ الَّذِينَ كَفْرُوا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُودَ وَعِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ, and the rest of this ayah, the meaning could be that they have been cursed because they have disregard this criteria of commanding good things and preventing evil things among themselves till they deserve the curse from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet alayhi salam, when he was to talk to his companion about the importance of this criteria, because this criteria means that this ummah is very positive ummah, and Islamic law is the title of this positiveness, because you are commanding good things through this is right and this is wrong, this is valid, this is invalid, this is what Allah wants from you toward yourself, wants from you toward your family, toward your wife, your mother, your neighbors, your street, your city. Just imagine that when you walk in the street and see someone just smoke maybe or cigarette and he drop it throw it in the street. This is against the Islamic law. When someone just ride his car and make some noises, this is against Islamic law. If people, they understand that if they are able to shape or reshape themselves according to Islamic law, you will have different story. Maybe if you talk about any event did take place in our modern life, and if you could reshape it, reformulate it in the Islamic law, you see different impact and results. So very briefly, I want Muslims, Ummah, the audience, the viewers, to believe in their God, to believe in their Islam, to strengthen their believe in their Islamic law, and to analyze, to realize, to understand very strongly that this ummah is able to regain its reasons of leadership and dignity by coming back to the address of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taken from their scholars, and to try to understand everything through what Allah wants from us subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine that in his time, alayhi salatu wasalam, from the very little issues to the maybe biggest issue in their life, they used to come to the Prophet, alayhi salatu, Ya Rasulullah, I did such things like this, what should I do? Ya Rasulullah, we used to be sailors in the sea, and we don't have enough water to make wudu. If we use that water, will be thirsty. We need it for our cooking, our food, to drink. Is it good? Is it enough to use the water of the sea to make our wudu? To that extent, we are asking about everything in their life. And that way, if you go back to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, to maybe conclude what is the meaning of Islamic law, means every aspect in your life does have a status toward Allah's standard, toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala address Azza wa Jal. Would like our Muslim Ummah to come back to this understanding, inshaAllah Azza wa Jal, as a step toward the reviving of this deen, inshaAllah Azza wa Jal.
Inshallah. You mentioned that when they ask the scholars, they have to give the answers, and according to the Islamic law, because in the past Muslims used to go to the Prophet ﷺ and ask him about different issues, even the smallest thing to the biggest thing. But when we talk about big events in our time, and you find that there are some Muslim scholars, they have differentiation about different point of views about big events. I have with me right now a question from Muhammad. She is asking, how can normal Muslim react to different big scholars giving different major fatwas? For example, and she's giving a very good example, Mufti said that protesting is against Islamic law. So what is the answer for this?
La ilaha illallah. You have just opened a very deep wound in my heart. I always keep saying, in order to have Muslim scholars qualified to their time, to be the leaders of their time, to be eligible to take and to hold the banners of reviving this deen, you have to have certain criteria in these Muslim scholars. You have many scholars, I know, as a fact, but what kind of criteria they should have to be eligible to be the advisors for this ummah, to be the good source and authentic source of the Islamic law, knowledge to this ummah. First of all, they have to be free.
Free. What do you mean by free?
I have free scholars and I have slave scholars. Free scholars, those that they are always and only belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are just seeking His pleasant Azza wa Jal. They have nothing in their life, in their mind, in their heart, in their maybe actual life to encourage them to say something or to discourage them to not say something but the pleasant of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are afraid of His anger, of His punishment. They are seeking His pleasant. They are wishing to be among people of paradise, the day of judgment. So their life is being censored by this meaning. They are not belong to parties.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We will continue, inshallah, when we come back from the break. We will go in quick break and we'll come back to continue this very important point.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Do you have questions that bother you? What about issues of concern to you? Would you like to share things on your mind with us? Are you interested in solutions based on an Islamic perspective? Please join me live in Meet Your Advisor every Friday at 9 p.m. Mecca time, here on Huda TV.
Be proactive.
How to be proactive in Islam, how to serve our religion, how to serve our life.
No, we want them to be proactive in matters that are related to their ummah. The true leader, and this is maybe we need to have this, okay, among us as Muslims. The true leader is the one who creates leaders.
So the society at the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave the chance for the children to blossom.
Now who took the reward of this? The initiative of Ali bin Abi Talib. Ali bin Abi Talib took the reward because of his initiative.
How long have you been passive? How much time have you lost in your life because of negativity? Learn how to take conscious control over your life. Set your goals and work to achieve them in an Islamic way.
If you really love your wife, your children, your parents, your people, then you have to do your utmost. You have to do whatever you can in order to invite them to Islam. We are in need for this reminder. The main point is ikhlas, is sincerity, is what I want to get in the hereafter.
Join Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad and his host, Muhammad Abdurrahim, in this inspiring show.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Welcome back. Before we went to the break, Professor Muhammad, you were talking about the differences between a free scholar and a slave scholar. But before you continue, we have a call, Sister Maha from United Emirates. Go ahead, Sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan for this very interesting program.
وإياك.
Just a very quick question regarding Islamic law about the inheritance, for example, of wills. Let's say, especially if you are the only son or the only daughter. And what is the reason behind the inheritance law being less for a female than a male? And that's all. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you.
وإياك وإياك. شكرا. We will give this answer later, inshallah, in the third segment. But we would like to continue this point about the free scholar and the slave scholar. What do you mean by that?
We were saying that Muslims, they have to be free in order to do their job toward their ummah. They cannot belong to any things that might tie their their knowledge, their interest, their pure advice, their vision, how to read the event, how to analyze the issue according to the Islamic law. If they belong to parties or group or government or maybe any influential things in their life, they might not be able to give the right answer to the questioner. They might not be able to see things in its reality. I'm not saying that everyone does go against your opinion. He's not a good scholar. But this is a very important criteria for Muslim scholars in our modern day to revive al-Islam and to bring back the Islamic law to its role in our life. Now, answering the issue of demonstrations and protestings against government or to have some demand through these demonstrations, we'll cover that, inshallah ta'ala, fiqh issue when we are talking about the big event happen. Because we'd like just to make this episode to focus on some big event, big issues taking place in our Muslims' modern life, and to give the Islamic law opinion, understanding. And then what should we do, inshallah ta'ala, after we have understood this issue according to Islamic law? So like you analyze the things, and then you take your role as a Muslim scholar, then you take a role as a Muslim individual, how to activate your understanding and this Islamic role in your practical life, inshallah ta'ala. So if we can, inshallah ta'ala, go ahead in our program to try to bring a very important example that's taking place in our time right now.
For example, if we talk about events, big events that happens in our time right now, and we can call even this episode the Egyptian Revolution in the eyes of the Muslim scholars, let's say. So if we want to analyze the Egyptian Revolution as a Muslim scholar, how do you look at it in your eyes?
SubhanAllah, the Muslim scholar, they see things in different way. As if that they are physicians and they have this medical or health problem. They would like to analyze it medically, and they have to apply their knowledge and everything they have learned from their medical school through their practical life to apply the suitable maybe cure and medication to this issue. And you cannot imagine the physician but to be a free person. He's very honest, very sincere, and he's always looking for the best solution for his case. And no one doubt his honesty, his sincerity, his authenticity. You could doubt maybe some Muslim scholars' authenticity or sincerity, but no one can doubt the physician. Because this is like they said, this is regarding the dunya, the life issue.
Yes.
What about a profession does regard the dunya and the life and hereafter? That everything has to be coming under the umbrella of the Islamic law, under the umbrella of what Allah wants from us, subhanahu wa ta'ala, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do in order to achieve the status of ubudiyyah, to be like a real servant to Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So when I look at the revolution, did take a place and is still taking a place in Egypt and some other countries, Muslim countries, they are just similar. They are doing to go for their demand and their dreams and their hopes. The first thing I did notice that the absence, very literal meaning, the absence of the Lord address. I call it in Arabic language غياب الخطاب الرباني. When people are demonstrating, going in a big demonstrations, and they are shouting, and they are having these signs, and they are asking specific things. This is their demand. This is what they want. This is why they have left their homes and come to that square, to this street, in that city, in this village. And I ask myself, if the Muslim scholars, they were the leaders of this revolution, what could you expect? First of all, you have to look at the issue before the revolution. What happened in Egypt? What happened in Yemen? What did happen in Oman? What did happen in Libya before what is going on right now? What is happening in every Muslim country? They could say unanimously the absence of democracy, right?
Yes.
This is the unanimous thinking, understanding. The absence of freedom of free speech or press.
Yes.
Right? You cannot write whatever you want. You cannot say whatever you want. You cannot televise whatever you want. So you don't have the free press. You don't have democracy. You cannot choose your president. You cannot choose your king or your prince or your sultan or your maybe sheikh or your anything. There's no justice.
Yes.
The source of wealth in the country in the hand of very little people. It is true. It is unanimously true. We agree on this very quick and very strong, clear demands. But what about other things? It is going on in our Muslim countries. It is happening. It did happen and is still happening. And it was and the Muslim scholars are the main reason why we have these regimes, why we have these dictatorships. Muslim scholars say because the absence of the Islamic law, the absence of the Sharia. We are not applying the rules of the Creator of earth and heaven. We have disconnected ourselves from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have accepted to claim that we are able to manage ourselves through some man-made law, man-made manual book. We are able to bring good things to our life, to fix our problems, to enhance our economy, enhance our maybe politics, fund and life through a different system, but not through the system Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made for us as a creator subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who can deny, who can maybe argue that the manual book of the Mercedes-Benz should be coming from Mercedes-Benz factory, from whom they have manufactured this car? This is very little issue in our life. People, they refer in your washer, your dryer, your maybe iron, your home, and everything you are using in your daily life, you refer all the time to the manual book, the catalog, right?
Yes.
They say this is coming from the company itself, we have to refer to it. They know better than us, so we should follow the instructions. What about the instructions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Manual book of Allah azza wa jal. So we have disregarded this. We have banned the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we know that we are doing that without even giving any little attention to this big unlawful things in our life, toward things that bring the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we are saying it's okay with us. We'll ask about something, we'll put in our demand such a big issues, everything will agree on it. Muslims, non-Muslims, ordinary person, educated persons, scholars, non-scholars, democracy, justice, everything, yes. But this is regarding you as a human being. This is, we call it in Islamic law. Remember in our other show when we said that about the philosophy of Islamic law,
yes,
the right of people and the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
This is regarding our right as a people living in this earth.
Yes. We have a call, Ayman from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
One question, please. I have only one question, please.
Okay.
I want to know why Islam is not populated and not known in Europe countries, and how to spread the right religion there in the whole world. That's all.
Can you please repeat the question again? It was not very clear.
Yes, Islam is not known in European countries, it's not spread. So I want to know why Islam is not spread in European countries, and how to make this religion known in the whole world.
No.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. No.
Why? Would you like to answer this question, or we continue, or I can answer it later?
Make a space for answering the questions.
Okay.
So that after we finish this, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Bismillah.
My question about what you mentioned. Now, those who made this revolution or moved this revolution in Egypt, they were not. They were from different backgrounds. Some of them are Muslims, some of them are non-Muslims, some of them are liberal Muslims, some of them, they don't have any kind of Islamic background. How we can convince them, and especially when they made this kind of demands, they were very keen to do not lose the non-Muslims in this revolution. They want to make us all united. How we can, as scholars, make them comfortable with the idea that we have to make this revolution in the sake of Allah and to apply the Islamic law. How we can make it easy for the non-Muslims, and this can be a topic for another show, to ease the feelings toward the Islamic law to the non-Muslims and the Muslims who don't know.
Yeah, it's not the purpose of our talking right now to apply the Islamic law to this revolution right now. I'm just analyzing.
Yes.
I'm just trying to philosophize maybe what is going on. If you'd like to philosophize what happened and what is happening in the eye of the Muslim scholars, it's like a long time. It's not just a short time. This revolution did take maybe 18 days or maybe 20 days. But the result, the impact of it was the years and decade, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years. You could say that. And all these years, the absence of the Islamic understanding through the Islamic law was the big factor of bringing this revolution and others to the same maybe vision or the same belief. That we cannot right now ask for the Sharia, we cannot ask for the Islamic law, we cannot ask to apply Islam on this country. That was the work of the absence of all these meanings long time ago. And everyone was sharing in this. We were living side by side, truth and falsehood, and good things and evil things, lawful and unlawful things. You could see in the street, in the world, that the advertising for good program, Islamic program, and non-Islamic program in the same wall. You could see in the same TV, in the same satellite channels. You could see Muslim scholars, Muslim du'at. They are sharing the same satellite channels. In their program, the same program, or maybe the same satellite channels, they have other things. Something to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the same channel, something to bring His anger subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it was like a history of disregarding what Allah wants from us subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what should we be, just to connect ourselves again with Allah Azza wa Jal, how to bring back the meaning of وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So if I look at this revolution, I say first of all, what happened in Egypt before this revolution, we have banned the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are the factors, the big one, of making up these dictators. Because if you notice right now, everyone talking about these revolutions, always they are focusing on the head of the regime, right?
Yes.
And with him maybe government, some big shot of the government. But no one is talking about the people themselves. How this person has reached that level, to be dictator, to be king, to be prince, and to stay on his place, in his position for 30 years, 40 years, or maybe less, or more than that. How this happened? How someone like Al-Qaddafi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take him by his word, Azza wa Jal. How someone like that can rule people for 40 years or more than that? Unless we have maybe disregarded our duties, our responsibilities, not toward just ourselves as a maybe Egyptian people, or Syrian, or Jordanian, or maybe Omanian, or maybe Libyan, as a Muslims. They have a role toward the whole mankind. Everyone is watching us. Everyone is waiting for this ummah to come back to its role in this life. When the Muslim Sahaba, with very minimum requirement they have at that time, understood the address of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His khitab, the Lord address to this ummah. They have taken this message, understood, activate it, taken it as a message to others, and they leave Arab Peninsula. They leave in Medina Munawwara, and they go to everywhere. Within 25 years, they have achieved what we call in the history the miracle. Not as such maybe civilization or maybe state to be able to within 25 years to achieve what the Sahaba they have made, radiallahu ardahum. It was very simple. It was very clear. They have taken His address subhanahu wa ta'ala seriously, honestly, sincerely, understand their role toward themselves and toward everyone in this universe. And they were walking everywhere. They were just traveling to everywhere to spread the message of Allah. The question of this brother, why we're not seeing Islam very known and famous in Europe or maybe in America. As a matter of fact, Islam is very famous as a name, as a title.
Can we take this answer after the break, inshallah?
No problem.
Inshallah, stay with us. We will go to a quick break and please stay tuned.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Kids quiz. Do you have kids? Do you want your kids to enjoy their time? Do you want them to benefit from their time? Would you like to increase their knowledge in Islam and general culture?
Honesty, Brother Frisco.
Yes!
Whoa! How should you choose your friend?
And they should have lots and lots of toys! Yes!
A show consists of challenges, questions. No. The two teams with the most points at the end of the show that win the lovely golden medal. Or, if you come in second place, of course, you win a lovely silver medal. The winning team overall gets a lovely golden medal.
I'm very excited I did it. I didn't believe that I could do it.
Do you like to teach them the Islamic values? Would you like to get to know our puppet Frisco?
It's a good day today.
Join our program, Kids Quiz, to have more knowledge and fun. Learn Arabic.
As everyone knows, today Arabic is considered as very important, very significant language. How can we produce the sound, the state of voicing, place of articulation, and manner of articulation? So in Arabic, the words which are written are pronounced.
We will learn how to write and pronounce Arabic letters correctly in depth. Explanation via board and presentation with many other important factors.
We have today more than 300 million people speak Arabic language. Not only in the Middle East, but you can find a lot of people speak Arabic language in Asia, Europe, North America, and in South America.
What are you waiting for? Grab your notebook and pencil and stay tuned for Learn Arabic at Huda TV.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Welcome back. For dear viewers, you can contact us and give us a call at 00202 3855 248 or 249. Or you can contact us through email, islamiclawtoday@huda.tv, and we would like to hear from you. Professor Muhammad, we were talking about this question from Brother Ayman from Egypt when he asked why Islam is not spreading in the West and what we can do to make Islam spread in the West, of course, in a peaceful way.
Yes, we were saying that the Sahaba, radiallahu ardahum, they were working toward their understanding of this Islam, taking the order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we make it after that Islamic law, and then activate these Islamic law rules, and they go everywhere to deliver the message to everyone as much as they can. They achieve the miracle. Islam has become very famous, very popular in the East, in the West at that time, they left behind them a big fortune and big inheritance. Everyone did recognize that later on, even in Europe. And I said that Islam right now in Europe, in America, is popular, is very famous by its title, not by its reputation, not by its people. This is the difference between the Sahaba generation and our generation. No one does maybe disregard his little knowledge about that Islam is existing right now in Europe, in America. They know that there is something they call it Islam, something they call it Muslims. But what we are missing in Europe and in America, the good reputation of Muslims and Islam. Because still Muslims, they are not coming back to the understanding of their deen the way it should be. And they are not activating this understanding in their practical life. So people, they cannot see the delight of this Islam, the blessing of this Islam yet. But inshallah ta'ala, hopefully, by this project of reviving Islam, that will happen in the future, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah Rabbil Alameen. We have Abdullah from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam. I'd like to thank you and thank Dr. Muhammad Saie. Thank you, Doctor, for all you do. Please, how can we as normal people act when there are more than one opinion concerning one of the Islamic law issues? I mean, which scholar should we follow? Which scholar should we take our knowledge from him?
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. And I have another question, okay? There are some people saying that we as Muslims have to forgive the leaders. Is it permissible to forgive the oppressors or the oppressive regime?
No.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. No. Well, I have to say that to the audience and viewers that I am working on the very important project to put this revolution and its sisters, I call it, ثورة مصر وأخواتها, on the Islamic law eyes. How to analyze this revolution, how to understand its demands, what should be done to reshape it in an Islamic law way to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the end, I put a special section for the Islamic fiqh issues regarding this revolution. What happened in this revolution? It did happen a lot of things. Many issues need to have an answer from fiqh point of view. Like when they call about this baltagiya.
Thugs, yes.
When they did go to the street and they did hit somebody, they did kill somebody, shooting, burning places. A lot of things happen in this revolution. Need to have an Islamic law answers, fiqh answers. I'm working on that and putting all that in one section, inshallah ta'ala. So one of this issue, can we forgive the leaders or the dictators or maybe the kings if we have successfully removed him from his position, and we found out that he did a very harmful thing to his country. We have to say that there is something they call it general right and special right, private right. You have a right as a person, but the whole ummah has a right as a ummah. If something happened to you because of that leader, from that ruler, he did steal your money, somehow, some way.
Yes.
He did kill some of your family, somehow, some way. It's up to the family of this person. It's up to you as a person being stolen from him this money to say, I'm going to forgive him. The family of that person will accept the diya from the ruler, or they're going to just forgive him. They want nothing. It's up to them.
Yes.
But when the harmful things happened to the whole ummah, you have no right to forgive him.
I see.
When he banned the whole Islamic law through 30 years, when he spread the corruptions, when he did make all these maybe harmful things to his country, to his people, you cannot give what they call it like general forgiveness. He has to be tried for his mistake, for his wrong doing.
Yes. We have a caller, Sister Shahinda from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Go ahead,
Talk to the
sister.
Sheikh, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the very nice program. May Allah bless it. I have a question. We hear in several hadiths that several hadiths promise glad tidings to the believers and to the Muslims, and that victory for Islam, and that it will spread, and that justice and good will prevail and spread. And on the other hand, we hear that there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he says, "Be patient, for no time will come, but that the time following it will be worse, until you meet your Lord." So, like, I'm pretty confused between the two hadiths. Can you please explain this to me?
Yes,
inshallah.
Well, regarding this issue, inshallah ta'ala, one of the fundamental criteria of this Islamic philosophy toward our understanding, the Prophet ﷺ used to give it a very important care and work from him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is always to be optimistic.
Yes.
You cannot be the other person, even in the depth of the trouble, in the full darkness. You are always optimistic that something is going to happen, inshallah ta'ala. The dawn is going to rise again, inshallah azza wa jalla. So as a Muslim, always we believe that good things will happen. Good news will receive it, inshallah ta'ala. Even in the full darkness, in the depth of the trouble or maybe the hardship. When the hadith say that every time will come, will be worse than the time before.
Yes.
The scholars say this is like generally speaking. If you make a study about his time, alayhi salam, and the time after him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and you count his generation, the second, the third, the fourth, the first was the best.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yes.
And the second was less. So he said that his generation was the best, other was less. That means the second one was not better than the first one, right? And the third, and you go on, right? This is like generally speaking, but does not prevent, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Muslim scholars they said, to have in some time, good maybe period of time, that to be better than 10 years before, or 15 years before, or 50 years before, like what happened right now.
I see.
Can we deny that what is going on in Egypt right now is better than 3 years ago?
Of course.
No, it is better.
Of course.
So this is the blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this fit in his always teaching, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, always be optimistic. Good news will happen.
Yes, and at the same time, it's worse than the time of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though that it's better than 30 years ago.
Yes.
I see. There's no contradictions here.
Yes, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
We have Brother Ibrahim from Egypt. Callers. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank you for this important topic. So my question is, how can we take advantage this revolution, the Egyptian revolution, to reform Egypt, to put Egypt in the straight path, the path of Islam, that of course makes everyone in Egypt have a good life. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Inshallah. Now, this is our work. This is our role right now. And we said that it is not late or too late. I know that there's an absence for the Muslim scholars in this revolution. Yes, some of them, they did go, and did they make a good work. But generally speaking, it was not that a strong appearance, a strong role for Muslim scholars. And as I said, that because of the 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, the absence of the whole Islam as a system of life was absent. So we have to work on this issue, inshallah ta'ala, by bringing back, calling upon our Muslim scholars, first of all, calling upon our Muslim people, our ummah, to come back to its identity, to its role in this life, to its responsibilities, to its honor Allah had made for it, subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we say that Muslim ummah, why sometimes we feel shame or shy to bring back our real identity, real entity, who we are. We are the Egyptian people, the Muslim Egyptian people. They were blessed by the Islamic conquest at the time of Amr ibn al-As. Many of them, they choose to accept Islam. Some, they choose to stay in their religion, and their belief in their religion. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We have this combination. And all of them, they were Qibtis, right?
Yes.
When someone said that Qibt is always Christian, no, it's wrong. Qibtis people, many of them, they accepted Islam, so become the Qibtis Muslims.
Exactly, yes.
And some, they did not. They remain Qibtis Christian.
Yes.
And all of them, they were combination of this blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to live together under the umbrella of justice, freedom, equality in Islam. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today.
No, you are kidding with me.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry we have to end this show today. Please, you can call us next week, inshallah, at the same time. And you can communicate with us through our email, islamiclawtoday@huda.tv. And inshallah, and I would like to thank Professor Muhammad Naimi Saie for being with us today. And inshallah, see you, inshallah, next week on Saturday at the same time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go astray. As the best of His creation, only us did He deem. This for us is honor, this high esteem. His qudrat it is that cause winds to blow. He gives us provision so that we may grow.